We had a 100% win rate and made over 18,000 pips from our last 4-hour public swing trading 4-hour experiment video live on YouTube approximately 2 weeks ago, and that's not even all. Hi, for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jenny Baker with Six Figure Trading Coach, where we show you that trading is as easy as you make it on yourself, literally. The whole concept is just meant to show you that if you can follow one strategy long term with duplicatable rules and consistent management, you can be profitable. And it's not going to be profitable every day. And we know that there's ups and downs and brokers and all the things that go in between. But trading itself is not that complicated. Whether you're trading your IRAs, whether you're trading yourself, whatever, 401ks, or your own brokerage firms, it doesn't matter. Forex, crypto, futures, it really all boils down to a duplicatable strategy and just good management. So without further ado, let's go take a look. Of course, we have to stop for a second and say, hey, this is not meant to be legal or financial advice of any kind. This is just meant to show people that it's possible, right? In a world where YouTube is filled with all the different clickbaits and, loss leading kind of, here's the secret, here's what you need to know kind of titles. The whole idea that we're doing is just to say, hey, here's a community of people who are coming together and can actually trade effectively, long-term, and profitably. That's all. Not just your, flashy cars and everything in between. So, of course, this is not financial or legal advice in any shape, way, or form. Please know you can follow similar, safer steps with lower risk, lower reward. You can do it in your offshore accounts, your, self-funded broker accounts, your hedge funds, or whatever. Whether you're using any kind of technical analysis, that's what we're here to show you. It's just that you can do this yourself. So, of course, we know there's been a lot going on in terms of brokers. Please make sure you click on this link tree if you're looking to join our free public community, if you're looking to join our private community where we do live classes twice a week, or, of course, for any of our copier services and EAs and kind of indicators and all the things that go into that. That's all there as well. But also the brokers that we work with the most, including Plexi and 1C. Those are kind of my go-to at the moment, my major mainstays, if you will. And, of course, a couple of different futures accounts as well. So let's go take a look real quick at the trades we called. Well, first, let's show you the spreadsheet. Let's see, we've got 87 trades that we've done publicly live on YouTube just to show you, hey, this is possible. You don't have to trade all the time, follow the same strategy, follow comparable management. As you can see, it's all defined. We did take a little bit of a grace period up top to say, hey, wait, how do we want to do this publicly as a team? Made that decision and, of course, landed here. All of this is predefined. It's not subjective. It's not, well, she knows something or has something that I don't. Nothing along those lines. But coming all the way down into here, so far we've got over 38,000 pips with an average win-to-loss ratio of about a 5.9 to 1. Not bad, right? Granted, that's pips. It's not exact. Obviously, your risk and reward is going to be a little bit different because of the value of the dollar, the value of the pips, the contract size, your broker, and a whole bunch of other things. But the whole concept is, and we're not going to keep this on here, but I had to at least show you, Bitcoin was one of the things we've discussed. We've actually been looking at it every couple of weeks. We called several of the big buys, several of the big sells, just to show, hey, you don't have to overthink this. It's really, really awesome. So I am, sadly, we talked about it on that video. I said I'm not going to count it as a trade idea, but definitely go take a look at your wallets, go take a look at your crypto. And we did. We moved over 17,000 pips. Mind you, the pip value in crypto is a little bit different. So when we're calculating this for our team, we'd be calculating that at about 1,700 just because it's devalued so much. So, take that with a grain of salt. But a pip is a pip is a pip. Let's go ahead and remove that. In total, we did get over 600 pips, right? To give you an idea what the value of that is, it's insane, okay? If you're starting with $500, obviously this is what we would have accomplished. We're talking about 5%, including the losses, and that's just this year. Definitely not a bad year. If you're starting with $5,000, doing a much more moderate, duplicatable kind of risk, you're still at the point where you're replacing incomes, even with a more moderate risk. And that's only trading 20 minutes twice a week, or twice a month approximately. Now, of course, you can take multiple entries, have a lot of other options, and there's so much else that goes into this to where you can scale in and, of course, double down on that risk or take an additional trade in that direction. You have a plethora, just an endless amount of things at your disposal that you can do. So that's what we've accomplished. And I'll have to go over the risk to reward of that here in a moment. So far for our private class, actually we called Bitcoin this morning, we've got over 1.2 million pips. We've had some really good weeks here recently. That's including taking a week off for traveling in Mexico. That's including taking a week off for 4th of July and barbecues. And while it was a holiday anyways, that's with all of that. So for our month of July, we got over 44,000 pips, taking pretty close to 2 of those weeks off. So definitely not a bad way to be. Let's go take a look this evening at the trades that we're going to be reviewing. So these are the 3 that are on our roster. Let's go see how they did. Okay, so here's where we're at. First off, I have to point out that we're on the line chart intentionally. This is our 4-hour public experiment tab, right? This was re-recorded this morning in terms of the tablet that we kind of default template that we are using. But this was marked up all the way on July 30th. Today is what? Today we're already on the 13th, okay? To give us an idea. Now, not all weeks are this perfect. Let's call, a spade because that's fair, okay? But this has done, obviously, incredibly. This is Euro GBP on the 1 hour. I zoomed down for a second just to show you we got the reaction at each one of the big blue targets that we drew. If you want to know what those wick zones look like, let's go to the candles. There we go. Now let's try that again. So we're on candles. We wicked into the first area. We wicked into the second area. We came back to retest it. We wicked in, came above, came back to retest it. We knew these were significant areas prior to them ever coming to these levels, which I think is pretty awesome. So I had to come down one time frame just to show you. Yes, we called the buy. Here, we pulled up into the first couple of zones, came back down to entry, and then took off. Beautiful 200 pip trade. Definitely not a bad way to be. 202, something like that, give or take. Not a lot of drawdown, not a lot of nothing. Just perfect. Granted, we had a couple of weeks where we were waiting for this entry. Some weeks it's not set up perfectly, and that's just real trading. So we're going to remove this. This was one of the 3 things we looked at a couple of weeks ago. So let's take that off of our watch list. 1 down, beautiful trade, great way to be. Odd NZD, same thing. 4-hour time frame, we took a sell here, literally no drawdown, came perfectly into the zone we were expecting it to react at, consolidated within it, broke below, retested, came all the way down to our next zone, all the way back up to the other zone that we knew was going to be significant, right? That's the power of learning the skill set. You'll know where the next reaction zones are going to be. It is a skill set that you can learn. It's not that complicated. Back down, and then of course we've just bounced in between over and over again. So beautiful trade. It sure is perfect when they're this perfect. I don't know, 238 pips, give or take. Definitely not a bad way to be. That was the second trade we looked at 2 weeks ago. So let's take that off of our watch list. All pretty simple stuff. And last but not least, we looked at Bitcoin. We talked about this that morning in our class as well. We talked about, hey, better ways to manage your crypto portfolio for those of you guys who have them, learning how to kind of exit out prior to big moves to the downside. When some of these symbols and instruments have lost 10, 20, 30%, why would you not try to keep at least some of those gains and then just buy back in when you come back to the next key level? Having said that, this moved, gosh, what did we say, 17,000 pips? Yee. Mind you, that is fair and square, 17,000 pips. But look at the value of the pip. We usually divide that by 10, so in our world, that's still only 1,700. Still not a bad way to be. Big, beautiful move, no real drawdown. Broke down below, came back to entry, and then just tanked. Right below all the levels we were looking at. So, beautiful 3 trades. This was done live. This was done on YouTube. And it's done with the same exact strategy over and over and over again. So, on that note, I was hesitant. I looked around before I took my munchkin to Boy Scouts. I looked around and said, And then I decided we're going to do this together. So, I'm always looking for a 4-hour trade along the lines of our golden strategy. Pretty simple. It's not anything super, super complex, proprietary, secret. It's not that fancy. It's really, really simple. Having said that, this is Bitcoin. This is a little laggy, so it might take a second. Nothing, for the most part, is really setting up in a way that I would say, hey, I'm going to invest into this right now. So this is US. I'm just going to pop through and give you some of the reasons why I'm not going to call a new trade idea for tonight. Which means, yes, next week I will come take a look at the charts live with you guys and say, hey, what's setting up? Do we like it? Do we want to take it? Etc., etc. But tonight, there's big news tomorrow for the USD. None of these trades are in a position where I'm like, hey, I trust this trade. I like the analysis. I like the room. I like the risk to reward. Nothing is setting up currently. So instead of going over, here's your trade, we went over reviewed the trades from last class or last video, and we're going to look at why I'm not taking the next couple. So technically, we've got our arrows. We are above the 50. Huge, big drop. Now, do I think this can go up? I do, but before we get there, I think we might retest. retest enough to make this maybe not cost effective to take, number one. And B, I think the risk, if we're using structure, is just vastly too high. Plus, there's USD news. So that kind of accounts that out. GU, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, has already made the majority of its move. We need a retest. Counts that out. EU, again, we're nowhere near the 50. We're sitting near close to the double top. So if anything, we'd be taking a retracement play and not a JGS on the 4 hour. Counts that one out. I can do this all day. I actually like this one. So if I were to pick some that I had to take tonight, it'd probably be this one. US dollar to sell back down, because the risk would be favorable and the amount of room, because it's about 230 in room, and our stop loss would be about 140, so a little bit less than a 2-to-1 risk to reward. I can live with that, and it's going with the trend. However, the big size of this move, we get our first little move to the upside. Obviously, there's US news tomorrow, but I would personally, predictively, when this isn't freezing up, I would be looking for something to pull down. That's what did we say, 100 to 250-ish pips, and then potentially make one more wave to the upside before we really got that next sell down. So whereas I like this trade for like an intraday, for a 2-week swing trade, probably not my favorite. But yes, I kind of like this one. Let's keep going. Not enough to take it, by the way. USD CAD just made a lower low. We're not taking that. Odd USD is too far away. Euro GBP love, but again, sizable move. We'll be looking for a pretty sizable retracement before we sell back down into this. We already caught that, right? And I can do this literally all day. We've got some sells to the downside. We are below the 50 on the 4 hour, but we've respected this level so much, and this big spicy move, I'd be looking for a bit of a retest before I really trusted this to sell down big time. In fact, I am looking for a bit of a retest on this, which I have yet to get. So I'm out on that one too, at least according to this particular strategy. So can I go find 3 or 4 trades, 5 trades even, based off of structure, based off of zones, based off of quarter points, based off of a whole host of other information? Absolutely. The market is moving 100% of the time, and there's almost always some kind of, trade idea available. But the purpose of these 4 hour public swing trade experiment videos is to show you when you duplicate something, right? So with that said, none of these are where I'd want them to be. Do I like this to continue buying? Again, intraday? I do. Do I think it's worth the risk? I do. But for the whole picture, 4 hour style? No, because the amount of risk I'd be taking to get the reward I'd be seeking is not good enough. So I'm out there. I really like the Euro JPYs to continue buying up at least short term, but the amount of risk is too high without a pullback. So I like Euro JPY and USD JPY. GBP Chef would be the second one I would choose if I were to pick 2 for tonight. I like this one. NZD Chef as well, actually. So between those, 2 to 4 trades, if you will. But again, same concept. We just broke this fractal. We're confirmed here. I love the trade. I think an easy 150-ish pips on the table. Not a bad way to be. 200 pips even, 250. Great trade. But remember, for us to come back into here even and retest, very, very easy, very, very likely, making this less than a 1-to-1 risk reward trade, especially if you're using structure. Structure is way the heck down here. So for me, I'm sitting out on this one. Got to pass. And just to show you why I'm not taking these trades this time. I like several of the JPY pairs. I just think that we've got a bit of a pullback before this big explosion potentially. So not necessarily worth the risk. GJ great for intraday as well. And all day long. So this is what I'm looking at. I like the chefs to buy up. But after this big of a move that was this far from the 50, we were this far away. This is our retest. We just came to this level. We really need the confirmation to pull back and break this zone to confirm if it's a buy. So for those reasons, and again, we've got no JGS on this 4 hour time frame. So see, this is why some weeks I'm like, maybe not today, at least for this strategy, for the purpose of these calls. So with that in mind, today's the day where we went over our trades. Next Tuesday, we'll do another video just briefly and say, hey, let's take a look at what's setting up. We've done really, really well to the point where I'd want to pull back up that spreadsheet and say, hey, look, this is what's possible. Actually, I'm going to. I'm going to sit right here for just a second while we finish talking. If more people want weeks like this where you can almost print money, and I don't necessarily mean, Lamborghini money. I mean freedom money. I mean peace of mind money. I mean the kind of money where you can live life on your own terms in the way that you want for the most part, right? Financially free, financially independent. That's all, right? Independently wealthy, whatever words you choose to use. You can do that, but you can't do it if you're overtrading, and you can't do it if you're forcing trades. So compartmentalizing has been big on my brain as I work toward kind of perfecting futures and just the different math that goes inside with the contract sizes. I'll be humble enough to know I don't know all that stuff. I still don't know it all, to be honest. But once you learn how to trade, the skill set transfers over to your retirement funds. It transfers over to your self-funded, brokerages account. It transfers over to your futures accounts and your what are they, prop firms, everything in between. If you can somehow reel in all those expectations, all those feelings, all that, psychology that goes into trading, if you can reel that in a little bit, you can duplicatably have success. And it doesn't mean every week is going to be a huge week, okay? Some of them might be small and some of them might be down. But this is a great example to say, and by the way, this is 20 minutes. This is 2 to 3 trades, not really including any really, well, a little bit of metals, but not really a lot of indices or cryptos or any heavy-weighted stuff. That's not bad. If you're doing a 1% amount of risk and you have a $5,000 account, you've made $15,000 in 20 minutes at a time. So 40 minutes a month. That is not bad. If you're doing 3% risk per trade, you've made 6 figures. 3% risk per trade, $5,000 starting balance, you've made 6 figures. Now, granted, you have to be able to hold that. Now, but also granted, with all the negative side, the people say that's not possible or this, that, and another, there are negative aspects to why this would be, inaccurate or hard or impossible. But there's some other side on that positive stuff that says if you took that lot size, took out your first portion, and upon pullback took a second entry, right? So you've scaled out of 70% of your position of a 3% risk. You let that come up, pulled back down, you took a second 3% trade. This big move is now worth, say, 5%, 4.5%, or 6.5% in total based off of how you managed it, how you mitigated risk when you protected, if you re-entered, if upon pullback you scaled out, you took another entry, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of other options here that make it to where not only did you make 6 figures, you also made multiple 6 figures in the same amount of time with the same amount of effort. So with that said, not calling any trades tonight. I'm not going to force it, but I still wanted to do the video and show up for you and show up for our team and our community as we are growing it. As always, if you have comments, questions, or what have you, if these videos you find helpful, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and do all the things that YouTube says woohoo to, so this can get in front of more people like you who it's helping and hopefully making an impact for. And that's all I've got for this evening. So happy trading. Take care, and God bless.